before. We've had a couple of people on, but this is probably, sorry to the other guys, the most special guest we've had on so far. This is the director, Ricardo. He just wants to be called Ricardo, Riccardo Bramwell. It doesn't matter. Like, director, so many things, a lot of projects.
The most qualified guest we've had, you know what I mean?
The most qualified.
Credentials.
Yeah, that's what we got, like the film talk behind there, right there. Like, how you feeling, man, during quarantine?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's it's a difficult time. Obviously, when it comes to filmmaking, it's a collaborative effort. So meet with people, do the stuff that you need to do, get the stuff that you need to get done. It's a bit challenging, but at the end of the day, you do what you can do. As a writer as well, you write when you're at home. So it's good. It's not the best situation to be in, but it's all right. You do the best you can do with what you got.
So, like, if you want to like tell the people a little bit, just like how we all know each other. Like, if you just want to give a little background on how we know each other.
Oh well,
you should do that, Tim.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? So there was one man. Yeah, 2018. I'm joking. No, so for the people that don't know, maybe a year and a bit ago, I started working on a script for just a general script called London's on Fire. At which point,
don't give away the name. There are a lot of thieves.
Well, you don't want to give away the name.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of thieves out here. People are gonna steal the name, bro.
So I started working on a script. At which point, the Podfather saw it. He was very entertained by it, and he started working on it with me as well. So we ended up writing like a whole episode for it, and then like the journey from there to like link up with multiple different people. Eventually we reached out to Ricardo because I already liked what he was doing. Like, he has a great website. You need to plug your website at the end, by the way, like, so people can watch your actual short films and that. Because those thrillers, they're good, man. So we reached out to Ricardo, which he had like a very, very like great knowledge base. He understood where we're going, where we're trying to go with this script, where we're trying to head to, and he came on board. And then we had so many plans. You know what I'm saying? And then Boris Johnson said no. He just came in and said, no, we're not doing it no more. Your film's cut off. Yeah, I mean, your series is cut off. So that's just kind of a background on how we know each other.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. Yeah. So just to ask a question. So, like, how bad has this affected you and you think the whole film industry in general? I mean, the whole industry in general. This quarantine. Is this something that's like completely like new, something that's never happened? Has there never been like major strikes or a major like break in the film industry or TV/film industry?
From research and experience, no, it's never been this bad. Unless you go way back when like you had like Great Depression and stuff like that. But from research as well, is like during this time is always an opportunity for filmmakers to do something, come out of the woodwork on the the greener side, because it's a story at the end of the day. If you look at like most filmmakers or writers now, they're writing about the quarantine. If you didn't have a quarantine, you couldn't write about it unless you like came up with it like an apocalyptic story. But during this time, it's a good opportunity for writers. They've just got to get on board, do what they can. But for me personally, I'm writing a lot more. I'm watching a lot more films. I think I've watched everything on Netflix. I'm not even joking.
No, but listen, at least for you, it's work. Some people are just there watching it all day, not doing nothing else, man. So you research. I mean, just
I'm researching a lot. Yeah, definitely. I've read a few scripts as well, which I found difficult when I kept going on the road and stuff. Now that I've been locked indoors, like I've got to put the effort in and read it. So I've read a lot of scripts. I've even turned to Amazon Prime videos.
Okay,
I'm watching those. So any resources I can get my hand on, I'm doing it. So I think it's all an individual thing, because some people might think, you know what, it's a time of like stress, depression and stuff. But then to a positive person, it's a time of, opportunities. So, based on the individual mindset, then I think they have to take away from it what they can get. That's sort of like how it's affected me. In general, I've been watching a lot of like major directors and major, writers and producers on like videos on YouTube, and they said it's affecting them as well. But they're doing the same thing. They're being productive. They're going out, they're reaching out to people. They're doing a lot of videos, interviews, and stuff. I've seen a photo on LinkedIn where you had a crew dressed up in sort of like protective gears, and they're filming. So, people out there are doing what they can to get the thing done that they need to get done. So I think it's all an individual thing as well.
I mean, the question I had was more like, okay, so in terms of like the industry, what part would you say is most effective? I mean, when I just think generally, I think of the actors. I think, actors normally anyway are just usually living, paycheck to paycheck. They can't really go and do research and write scripts and do all this sort of things. If they're acting, and at this point there's no real opportunity to do so. Would you say like those guys, because a lot of those guys don't even have movies lined up right now anyways, even when the industry comes back, they still have to go into the auditioning process, still take months before you get a new gig and stuff. And I don't even know how that works with the furlough and with the government. Like if you're an actor, how do you prove what you were earning if you're going really paycheck to paycheck rather than a monthly thing, with the government, so
actors are feeling it quite a bit, because as you say, for an actor to be like productive, or in a sense, they have to be on set. And if they're on set, that's when if there's quarantine and you can't like socialize or you can't like collaborate, then it's going to affect you quite a lot. And I think as an actor, it's an opportunity for them to like sort of read up on like stuff that they'll be interested in. It is difficult. Like no one's got like a set answer for it. But I think the actors are feeling it a lot more. A director can like look at stuff. He can like find stories that he wants to direct. Writers can write. Producers can find something they want to produce, and they can all do stuff online. But an actor have to put in the work and the effort to sort of like get something done. So I'd say the actors are affected a lot.
And can you just
go on.
I was going to say, so like, if you just explain a bit more, like what is essentially the role of a director, like in comparison to the actors and the producers, executive producers on the set? Like, what would you say your day-to-day role is as a director? And the second part of that question would just be, is it natural for directors to also be executive producers, which a lot of them are, and tend to be writers as well? Or is that just something separate that just only a few of them do?
So the first part of the question is, what's the role of a director? A director is basically to take the creative side of what's the script, basically, and bring it to the screen visually. It's basically an interpretation as well, from the person. And, every director's got their own stamp, and you can see a director's work based on like what they do. You can know, okay, a director done that based on the creative like effort he put into that story on screen, make it visually. So the director's role is to just take the written word, create it into something visual, and like put it on screen. That's his role. Get a team together that can do that. That's his main role.
So let's like a major director. Let's say like Tarantino or Scorsese. Who gets the final say when it comes to the creative process? Because if the director's vision is different from the script, and he might not know it until he started filming, and he wants to change something, and the script writer doesn't want to change it, who has the final say?
Well, that's the interesting thing, because a script writer will take it to a producer, and a producer will say, yes, we'll make this film, and then the producer will say, we want this director to do it. So technically the producer has the last say, technically, but if the producer go up, in a direction to say, I'm going to take that director, then obviously they know what that director has done in the past. So if a writer said, no, I don't want that director, then the producer and the writer would have to have a chat, because, producers normally buy a script, and when they buy the script, then they they find a director that would make that script, or give sort of like favor to that script. So if a writer is writing, he might have a director in mind if he's not directing himself. But if you notice, most writers direct their own film, they direct their own thing because they're the one that can understand it the best. You know, if they see a director's work and they decide, okay, I like the way that director do things, and they give it to them, they should have faith in that director. If not, they're just directed themselves.
And also there are a lot of scripts that are like bought and then pretty much the writer is out and then the studio and the just do their own thing. So
yes, pretty much. Like I've read articles where, and I've seen videos and chats where after a production company or a producer has bought a film, a script, they change the writer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have the sort of like, it depends on like the agreement they've got, but they can change the writer and change the story to an extent. So you see, that's why a lot of writers becomes a director. You know, they can have a chat with the producer and say, "This is how I want it done." You know, if it's not in the writer's hand anymore, producer can do whatever he wants with it. He can find the director that he wants to make it, you know, the best or market it in a certain way, tell the best story and stuff. So yeah, it depends on the agreement and, you know, the contract that they're under.
Yeah. And so in terms of the second part of the question where I asked, is it normal for most directors to also write and produce as well, or is that a rarity?
I think it's more of an individual thing, because, for example, I've written stuff that I directed and produced, and that's only because I wanted to go out there, you know, in my way, the way how I wanted to go out. You know, a producer, a director can be an executive producer. You can put a bit of money in there. The executive producers technically is people who don't really have a say on it creatively, you know, but they can contribute to it, you know, either by money or get someone to, you know, contribute to the creating aspect of it. You know, it's the producing side of it. That's why they're executive, because they don't really say much. They're just like, you know, there, you know, they're up there, sort of thing. So like a director can be an executive producer. You know, he can contribute to it financially or, you know, other means, but it's an individual thing. No, they don't have to be, but they can.
Yeah, from what I've seen, most of the directors that write, they were like initially writers, and then they became directors.
Yeah.
And then whatever, because I think it's hard to like fully focus on being a director, and now say you want to go back and write a script, like so time consuming.
Yeah.
You know, you're handling too many things. You know what I mean? It's more of a collaborative. Effort. And also, every script these days seems to have like multiple writers, anyways, rather than just one person. So it's more like and also what I've seen for like a lot of the some of my favorite directors, like let's say like a Christopher Nolan or whatever, he tends to collaborate with the same writers a lot of the time.
Yeah,
it's almost like a team, isn't it? Yeah, you know what I mean,
yeah.
I think, David Goyer, I think he's the one that helped him with the Batman. Batman Begins and the whole Batman series, and I think he was on Inception as well and something else. They tend to work as a team. So
I think majority of the time people get like the misunderstanding of how the creative process works is because, first of all, you have to have a story first to do anything else. So therefore you need a writer. And after the writer finishes it, then he would like, okay, I want this to be made. He finds a producer. If he decides to direct it as well, he have a chat with the producer and say like, whatever, I want to direct it as well. You know, he can put that stamp on it if the producer is like, okay, yeah, we'll get that done. You know, that way. So first of all, you have to have the writer, you know, to get that story. And then you find a production company that will produce it. And then the writer can be the director as well. You know, so it all depends on how the writer or the production company wants to, you know, make the film. As I said, it's an individual thing, or it's an agreement between the writer, the director, and the producer.
I heard certain like movies and TV shows are going to New Zealand to shoot now because they've opened up and
any way to get it made, man.
Yeah,
we'll go to New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand and Sweden as well. Yeah, I mean, so guys will find a way to create, especially if you're not doing a movie that's like based in a city. If you're doing a movie that's in the deserts or outdoors or whatever, I'm sure you could shoot it in a way where it doesn't have to be look like it's on that exact location and stuff like that. So
exactly, yeah.
As a director, did you notice the shift when TV shows started becoming prominent in comparison to movies? And do you feel that TV shows are bigger now than movies?
You know, this is a subjective sort of thing. It's like I can say it's bigger from my point of view, but at the same time, I love films. And the reason why I love films is because you have your 3 acts straight away. You know, it might not be in order like Memento, but it's there. You know, you start a film, you see what happens. Some of them might not be good, but then you see the end. And with a TV series, I don't have a lot of time because I like to be productive. So TV series, you've got to commit to it. You start a TV series, sometimes it takes weeks, months to finish. So, you know, with how they're doing it now, it's like you get an episode like every week. If it's a 12 or 13 episode, you have 13 or 12 weeks to watch it. Do you see what I mean? So, in my point of view, TV series do take up a lot of time, but at the same time, I love them as well because it gives a broader picture on storytelling. Do you see what I mean? Sometimes you watch a film and you don't quite understand it, but then you watch a TV series and you get the full picture. You see what I mean? Yeah. So I do watch quite a few. As I said, I was watching Netflix, and I got delved into like a lot of a TV series, and you know it was good. It was quite interesting to see how talented people are now. Like, you know, they've got time to sit down and think. So I wouldn't say I prefer like one more than the other, but if I had to choose, I'd say films that gives you like a shorter time to complete it, but TV series makes you understand it more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And as a director, when you look for directors that you like, what do you look at? Do you look at how they present like the cinematography? So like, you know, Christopher Nolan is great at world building. You know what I mean? Like world building is like his thing. He could create a universe and make it really, you know what I mean? And then certain people like Quentin Tarantino almost make you feel like you're in the theater with the scripts and the acts and the way he puts it forward. So like when you look at certain, or even, you know, I mean, a lot of people crap on him. Who's your director again? Who do you like? The one that made Bad Boys, One Badge.
Michael Bay.
I mean, Transformers. Michael Bay's explosions, and you know, obviously, and it's really widely panned, isn't it? Like when you look at stuff, like what is your thing to say? Oh, this is great directing. Instead of this is just a great script.
All right, great directing. I don't know if I should tell you my favorite film. My favorite film is Warrior with Tom Hardy. And the reason why is because of how, you know, it's because of how the character sort of like, you know, developed. You know, they are more about like the character development. And you know, when you introduced me to your script, and I read it, I'm like, I want to get on board on this. You know, because of how the characters developed. You know, all of them had their own story. They're going through something, and they have an arc. You know, I'm about the characters.
This is what's going on Instagram. This right here is the part that's going on Instagram. You hear that, people?
So, you know, it's like I want to see a character change. You know, when you watch Warrior, I'm not ashamed to say it. I cried at Warrior. I cried at Warrior. You know, because you see the character change. It's this guy from the Navy, the Army. Like this guy, you know, he's meant to be tough. He pulled the door off a tank. Yeah, that's how strong this guy is. A man. Yeah, and at the end, he was in the ring crying when his brother was fighting him. You know, that's a character change. That's a character development. That is. So when I watch a film and see a director develop a character, one of my favorite you know, writers is Ryan Googler. He basically do like Black Panther and everything.
Black Panther,
Yeah, he one of his first feature film is I think
Fruitvale.
it was Fruitvale Station.
Yeah,
When
great
I
movie.
watched Fruitvale Station and I saw how the character, sort of like the arc of the character and how things just like and you know, I was like, okay, this guy's good. You know, he knows what he's doing. Do you see what I mean? So you know, it's all about the character. It's the character for me and how they develop the arc that they have in the story. That does it for me.
Yeah,
You know, I love.
I think that's one of the great things about like film or cinema is that you can find character development in like any situation, in any scenario. So you can have two guys in the room just talking, and you can still have character development, and you can have two guys going through a war, you know, showing their whole life story and have character development. Like, you know what I mean? So the like what you said, the writing and directing style is very prominent for me, which is why I tend to, at the moment, I lean towards TV, the TV in general, because a lot of movies, I don't feel like I get that. I feel like it's very formulaic, and it's like they have to, they're trying to fit everything into that 1.5 hours, 2 hours, or whatever. Yeah. And there's just a lot of plot holes in movies. There's a lot of the scene of flow, you know, like I'm not gonna lie, it's been a couple of tough years for movies. Yeah, like you're always gonna have some excellent movies. I can't remember the last time I saw like, you know, 10, 15 great movies in a year. Like I can't remember, you know. Yeah. But TV shows I can find 6 or 7, and it's not just, and also they're like 2 or 3 times the length of the movie. So I'm getting what I'm getting from the movie, but continuously. Yeah, 2 hours here, 3 hours here, 4 hours there. You know what I mean? A 12 episode. And then, obviously, I don't know if you've seen, because we were talking earlier about Gangs of London. You haven't seen it yet.
But I saw the trailer. It looks good.
But the action in that is comparable to any movie, if not better. Yeah, I mean, that I've seen in terms of the scale, the way it was shot, the way it was executed, all of that. So once the barrier of like money and production, because I think it's a lot cheaper now to make movies than probably it was in the 90s and 2000s, because everybody's got, you know, the equipment is more readily available, the camera, the this, the that, so you get a lot more, it's more democratized, the whole film industry and stuff, yeah? So, so I just feel like, and especially thing about TVs, I feel like they're also introducing us to new characters and actors more on a regular basis, and also bringing the old ones that we had forgotten about and we had written off, and they're coming back. Steve Buscemi or who else would I put as that sort of level? Steve Buscemi. You got the guy Breaking Bad, like TV actor for years. Everybody knows the comedy guy. Nobody rated him on that sort of level. Comes, and that was like the most amazing performance. Even McNulty, he had done movies, but he hadn't really, from the Wire, he had done movies, but he wasn't able to really, you know, flesh out a character. He comes, he shows his range. You know, I don't know. Yeah. I love the cinema as well. The whole experience, you go to the cinema, it's dark, the music, you're fully entranced and everything. But with the way the quality of the TVs are going now, you know what I mean? The quality of picture, you don't really feel like you're missing anything. Surround system, this, that. So it's very interesting. But I think for me, TV is the prominent format at the moment. You know.
I was going to ask you, talking about Ryan Coogler, that's a perfect example. Obviously, Ryan Coogler worked with Michael B. Jordan, built a relationship, then he went to Creed, and then they went to Black Panther. How important is that building of a relationship with an actor? So, like, let's say you worked with an actor, you had a great time working with them, you thought they were excellent. Would you naturally look to them for certain roles and would want to work with them together because you had a pleasant experience? Or it's just not as that important? You can work with different actors every time that you act? Every time you direct.
If you check majority of directors, actors, you know, musicians and stuff, personally from research, majority of the directors, if they get on with an actor, a writer, a producer, they're more likely to go back because they can rely on them. It's all about how much trust they can put in a person. People these days are in it for a lot of different reasons, you know. So, for example, you know, you mentioned Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. You know, they work together very well. You know, Michael B. Jordan is a multi-talented guy. He's so talented. So if you give him a role, he will bring that role to screen. You know, and Ryan Coogler knows that, so he uses him. He gets him back. You know, I was reading an article where he wanted him to be the Black Panther, but he couldn't because they've already casted the other guy for Black Panther. So therefore, he gave him the antagonist, and he did something great with it. You saw
That's fantastic. Yeah,
you see what I mean? He brought it to life. So you know, when you've got that trust in a specific, you know, an individual, you go back to it because you know they will deliver. Do you see? It's all about the trust. It's all about how much you can rely on that person. You know, if you listen to a majority of Ryan Coogler's music on his films, it's from what's the artist's name again?
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar, you know, because he goes to me, he delivers, you know. It's all about delivery. It's all about how much they can rely on you. So it is very important to find someone, you know, who you can, you know, rely on, you can like trust, and it's not a problem to get them back, because if you give them a certain, you know, role or character, and they're talented, they'll bring it to life. You know, it's all about that trust.
Have you ever worked with the same person again? Director, I mean producer, actor, or anything like that?
Yeah, I have. Majority of the stuff that I do, you know, I normally use the same producer or production manager, you know, because I know that person can deliver. You know, so this is why I'm speaking from experience. It's literally how much you can rely on that person, you know, how much trust you've got in that person, you know, how much that person brings to the team, you know. And you know, as it's a collaborative effort when you're making a film, you want people who you can collaborate with. It's a good time on set, and you know, they're happy, you know. I don't know, it's like every time you write a script, you want to bring that script to life. You have to find the right people. So if you know that you've worked with someone in the past, it's literally hard to find new people that you can rely on. It's difficult. So when you've got a set of, or a group of people that you know you can trust, yeah, it's always best to go back to them, because you know they'll deliver, and you know, if they enjoy working with you, they'll bring. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be even better the next time, because you've already like gone through that icebreaker. You've done the icebreaking thing. You know, you're a team now, so it's better on set. You know, the story's better. You know how each other work. You know the quirks. You know, like stuff not to do, stuff to do. You know, it's just easier on set, and that's what you need when you're filming. You just need stuff to go according to plan.
So who would you say your top 3 directors are?
My top 3 directors
and top 3 movies as well.
And top 3 movies.
We've already got one with the Warrior. So
yeah, the Warrior.
That's number one.
Warrior definitely. Fruitvale Station.
Yeah, great movie.
And Memento. I like Memento.
Directors.
Yeah. Directors would be, well, Ryan Coogler. I do admire the stuff that Christopher Nolan do. You know, and I recently I've been watching a lot of Martin Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, like because Martin Scorsese, I was reading one of his movies, I think it was Taxi Driver.
Yeah, Taxi Driver, yeah, famous.
Oh, I was reading that. It was interesting how the character developed. You know, it was very, very interesting how that character developed. So, you know, stuff like that. You know,
so you put Ryan Coogler above Spike Lee?
I was watching. To be honest, I've seen like 1 or 2 Spike Lee films. You know, and the reason why is because I watch Malcolm X. You know, I was mad.
Yeah.
Malcolm X was really, really good. And then I saw what's his latest one?
Don't say Chirac.
The Black Klansman. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Black Klansman.
I was looking at the trailer and I wanted to watch it, but I didn't get an opportunity to watch it. You know,
It's a good movie.
But I've not really watched a lot of Spike Lee's films. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a preference thing.
You should. He's got a great catalog, man. Yeah.
He's got a great, got a great catalog. Yeah, he's got an excellent catalog. So like, I was gonna say, so like, what do you think about directors that act in all of their movies? You know, like Quentin Tarantino's all these movies, he always does some bit part role, or like.
Personally, if you can,
is it something that you do?
You know, do it. If you can do it, do it. But
have you ever done it?
Something? No.
You've never played bus guy number 3 or train rider number 1 or park person?
Never had a cameo. Never been the lead in one of my films. It's one of those things where I think because I've never seen Christopher Nolan in one of his films. I've never seen Ryan Coogler in one of his films. He's done it before. He's done it before.
Ryan Coogler?
He's done it. He's been in short films. But you see that's the thing. It's like if you can do it, you do it. Some of them do it because they just like maybe there were a lot of different circumstances that can surround someone being in their own film. You know, if it's not about your ego and you're just doing it because based on production and you can't like afford a member that you know. And honestly, sometimes the story more than how another person would interpret it. And you just want to do it justice. So it's an individual thing again, It
might be like a calling card or like a stamp. Because people they always do like a cameo in it, rather than like a full role. So they just go in and then
whenever I see
it could be a stamp. Yeah, it could be sort of because like Stanley, he's everything he was bless him, everything they shot. He was he done a cameo. So that's just
it can just be like a fun thing for the audience, and then they point out,
it also depends on the director, because when I watch Quentin Tarantino talk about his movies, I feel like he always he controls every element about that movie. Like when he was talking about Pulp Fiction, I don't know if you know the famous dance scene